The story begins not with kings or gods, but with the people of Athens, whose thirst for justice and equality laid the foundation for a new form of governance. Early settlements in the region of Attica, long ruled by powerful aristocrats, grew restless under the weight of debt and inequality, sparking a desire for radical change. Welcome to Echoes of History. Today, we journey to the birthplace of one of the world's most influential political ideas, democracy. From the agora of ancient Athens to the revolutionary reforms that gave power to the people, we uncover the origins of democracy, its early architects and legendary principles. Athens' early leaders, like the lawgiver Solon, recognized the deep social divides threatening to tear the city apart. He introduced sweeping reforms that cancelled debts and created a council to give citizens a greater voice. Yet his efforts were a compromise that satisfied neither the rich nor the poor. The rise of tyrants like Pisistratus, who seized power by championing the common man, highlighted the ongoing struggle for control and set the stage for a more profound revolution. The expulsion of his sons marked the end of tyranny and paved the way for the birth of Athenian democracy, where political power shifted from the few to the many. In these early years, the powerful aristocratic clans and the common demos clashed, struggling over political control and the very definition of citizenship. To dismantle the old power structures, the reformer Cleisthenes reorganized the entire citizen body into 10 new tribes, breaking up traditional loyalties and fostering a unified Athenian identity. He established the Council of 500, a body chosen by lot, giving ordinary citizens direct experience in governing. These early struggles and groundbreaking reforms laid the groundwork for Athens' enduring system of direct democracy. Famous words, focus keywords: Athens, Solon, Pisistratus, Cleisthenes, Demos, Council of 500, direct democracy, aristocrats. Imagine this. The year is 509 BC. Rome has just thrown off the shackles of monarchy and declared itself a republic. A new era has dawned, but this young city-state is surrounded by rivals, all vying for control of the Italian peninsula. This isn't just a story of survival. It's the story of how Rome began its relentless march toward empire. From the very beginning, the Roman Republic was a state at war. It wasn't just one enemy. It was a constant struggle on all fronts. They fought their neighbors, the Latins, the Sabines, and the powerful Etruscans to the north. To the south, they faced the rugged and fierce hill tribes like the Samnites and the Volsci. These weren't quick, decisive wars. They were brutal, drawn-out conflicts that tested Rome's resolve to its very core. So, what was Rome's secret weapon? It was the Roman legion. This wasn't just a mob of armed men. It was a highly organized, disciplined, and adaptable fighting machine. The legion was divided into smaller, more flexible units called manna, which allowed them to maneuver and fight effectively on varied terrain, from open plains to rugged mountains. Every soldier, from the newest recruit to the seasoned veteran, was drilled relentlessly. Discipline was everything. This military strategy, this commitment to order and training, gave them a decisive edge over their more loosely organized opponents. The wars against the Samnites were particularly grueling. Spanning over half a century, these conflicts pushed the Roman army to its limits. One of the most humiliating moments in Roman history came at the Battle of the Caudine Forks. Here, an entire Roman army was trapped in a narrow mountain pass by the Samnites and forced to surrender without a fight. They were made to pass under the yoke, a symbol of utter subjugation. But for Rome, defeat was never the end. It was a lesson. They learned from their mistakes, adapted their tactics, and came back stronger. This resilience became a hallmark of the Roman character. Slowly but surely, Rome's military prowess began to turn the tide. They conquered city after city, tribe after tribe, but Roman expansion wasn't just about brute force. It was also a masterpiece of political strategy. When they conquered a people, they didn't always crush them. Instead, they often offered a path to integration. Some conquered cities were granted Roman citizenship, others became allies, bound by treaties to supply soldiers for the legions. This network of alliances was a brilliant move. It not only expanded Rome's manpower, but also turned former enemies into partners in conquest. They were building an empire not just with swords, but with laws and treaties. The political system of the Republic was built to support this constant state of war. The Senate, composed of Rome's most influential citizens, debated foreign policy and directed the military campaigns. The popular assemblies elected the magistrates who would lead the armies into battle. This synergy between the military and the political structure created a powerful engine for expansion. Every victory brought more land, more resources, and more soldiers, which in turn fueled further conquests. It was a self-perpetuating cycle of growth. By 264 BC, after centuries of relentless fighting, innovation, and clever diplomacy, Rome had achieved something remarkable. It had transformed from a single city-state into the undisputed master of the Italian peninsula. The Latins, the Etruscans, the Samnite soul had been brought under Roman control. This unification of Italy under a single power was a pivotal moment in history. It laid the foundation for everything that was to come. It provided the secure home base and the vast resources Rome would need to look beyond Italy and challenge the other great powers of the Mediterranean. The stage was set for the Punic Wars and Rome's ascent to global domination. The story of early Republican Rome is a powerful reminder that empires aren't built in a day. It's a tale of struggle, defeat, adaptation, and an unyielding will to win. The legions that marched across Italy were forging the very identity of Rome, an identity that would echo through the ages. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey into Roman history fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the ancient world. See you in the next video. While Rome expanded outside, the heart of the Republic was transforming from a small city-state into the center of a vast empire. This incredible growth wasn't just about conquering new lands, it was also a story of intense internal political struggles that fundamentally shaped what it meant to be Roman. At the core of this conflict was the struggle of the orders. A long and dramatic clash between two main social classes, the patricians and the plebeians. The patricians were the elite, the old aristocratic families who held all the political, religious, and military power. They were the landowners, the senators, the consuls. On the other side were the plebeians, who made up the vast majority of Rome's citizens. They were the farmers, the merchants, the artisans, the soldiers who fought Rome's wars. Despite their numbers and their vital contributions to the state, they had virtually no say in how it was run. They couldn't hold high office, couldn't marry into patrician families, and were often at the mercy of an unwritten legal system that heavily favored the rich and powerful. Imagine being a soldier, fighting and bleeding for Rome, only to come home to find your family deep in debt, with no legal protection against a powerful patrician landowner. This was the reality for countless plebeians, and this simmering resentment was bound to boil over. The first major turning point came around 494 BC. The plebeians, pushed to their limit, took a radical step. They seceded. They literally walked out of the city en masse and gathered on a nearby hill, refusing to work or fight until their grievances were heard. This was a massive crisis for the patricians. Without the plebeians, the city couldn't function, and its armies couldn't be manned. This act of collective bargaining forced the patrician-controlled Senate to the negotiating table. The result was the creation of a revolutionary new office, the Tribune of the Plebs. The tribune was an official elected by the plebeians themselves. This office came with an extraordinary power known as veto, which literally means "I forbid." A tribune could block any action by a magistrate or any bill from the Senate that they believed would harm the plebeian class. To ensure they could perform their duties without fear, the tribunes were declared sacrosanct, meaning anyone who harmed them could be killed without penalty. This was a monumental shift in power. For the first time, the common people had a direct, powerful voice at the very heart of Roman government, a champion to protect them from the whims of the aristocracy. But having a voice wasn't enough. The plebeians also demanded that the laws be written down. For centuries, legal judgments were based on secret customs and traditions known only to the patrician priests. This created a system where justice was arbitrary and often biased. The plebeians argued that they couldn't obey laws they didn't know. After years of pressure, in 451 BC, a commission was appointed to write down the laws of Rome. The result was the legendary 12 Tables. These bronze tablets were displayed publicly in the Roman Forum for everyone to see. The 12 Tables were not a complex constitution, but a list of basic, fundamental laws covering everything from property rights and debt to family law and court procedures. For example, they established the principle that a person accused of a crime was innocent until proven guilty and had the right to defend themselves. They set rules for contracts and inheritance. While many of the laws might seem harsh by modern standards, their real importance was their existence. By making the law public and accessible, the 12 Tables established the principle that all citizens, patrician and plebeian alike, were subject to the same legal code. It was a massive step towards legal equality and became the foundation of Roman law for centuries to come. With the creation of the tribunes and the 12 Tables, the plebeians had secured crucial protections. But they still wanted more. They wanted true political equality. They wanted the right to hold the highest offices in the Republic, including the consulship, the most powerful executive position. This fight took another century. The patricians resisted fiercely, arguing that only they had the proper religious authority and heritage to lead Rome. But the plebeians were relentless. They used the threat of further secessions and their growing influence through the popular assemblies, where citizens voted on laws and elected officials. Slowly but surely, the barriers began to fall. One of the most significant milestones was the Athenian Sextian laws of 367 BC. These laws tackled economic inequality by limiting the amount of public land one person could own. But more importantly, they mandated that one of the 2 consuls elected each year must be a plebeian. This was a political earthquake. It shattered the patrician monopoly on executive power and opened the door for ambitious and capable plebeians to reach the very top of the political ladder. Over the following decades, other offices were opened up to the dictatorship, the censorship, the praetorship. Plebeians could finally lead armies, govern provinces, and shape the destiny of the Republic. The final victory in the struggle of the orders came in 287 BC with a law known as the Lex Hortensia. This law declared that all resolutions passed by the plebeian assembly had the force of law for all Roman citizens, including patricians, without needing the approval of the Senate. This was it. The plebeian assembly was now a primary legislative body, and the political distinction between patrician and plebeian was, for all practical purposes, erased. The struggle that had defined the Republic for over 2 centuries was finally over. So what was the result of all this? This long, often bitter conflict fundamentally strengthened the Roman Republic by gradually incorporating the plebeians into the political system. Rome avoided the kind of destructive civil wars that shattered many other ancient states. It created a more balanced and resilient government. The Senate, still dominated by the experienced aristocracy, provided stability and long-term vision. The popular assemblies and the tribunes provided a democratic element, ensuring that the government was responsive to the needs of the common people. This unique blend of aristocracy and democracies, born from conflict, created a political machine that was incredibly effective. It fostered a deep sense of patriotism and civic duty among all its citizens, who now felt they had a real stake in the success of the Republic. This internal stability and unity was the bedrock upon which Rome built its empire. It allowed Rome to focus its immense energy outward, to conquer its rivals and expand its dominion across the Mediterranean. The struggles within the city's walls forged the strength that would project Roman power across the known world. This political evolution was the engine of Rome's success, but it was also a story that was far from over. The new elite, a mix of old patricians and wealthy plebeians, would soon face new challenges from the landless poor and ambitious generals. The Republic's system, forged in these early struggles, would be tested to its absolute limit. In Part 4, we'll explore the Punic Wars, where this newly unified republic would face its greatest external threat yet, the mighty Empire of Carthage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. With Italy unified, Rome looked beyond its borders, setting the stage for an empire that would change the world. But how did a single city-state achieve such dominance? It all began with the consolidation of power on the Italian peninsula, a process that forged the very soul of the Roman Republic. By the later centuries of the early Republic, Rome wasn't just another city. It was the master of Italy. This wasn't a sudden conquest, but a gradual, deliberate process built on 3 pillars: political reform, military victory, and social integration. These elements combined to create a society resilient enough to govern for the long haul. Internally, Rome was a marvel of political engineering. The Republic was a delicate balancing act. Power was distributed among the Senate, the assemblies, and the magistrates. This system of checks and balances ensured that no single group could seize absolute control. A key development was the establishment of the tribune of the plebs as a permanent office. This gave the common people, the plebeians, a real voice in government. No longer were they just subjects, they were active participants, increasingly sharing political authority with the patrician nobility. This balance wasn't just about preventing tyranny. It was about ensuring the rights of every Roman citizen were protected under the law. The concept of rule of law was fundamental to the Republic's stability. But Rome's strength wasn't just in its political structure. It was in its legions. The Roman military was a formidable machine, honed through constant warfare across Italy. Each victory wasn't just a territorial gain. It was a lesson learned, a strategy refined. The discipline, organization, and engineering prowess of the Roman army became legendary. They didn't just conquer, they built. Roads, aqueducts, and fortifications followed in the wake of their legions, physically knitting the peninsula together under Roman control. This military success was directly tied to Rome's political system. Citizens who served in the army also had a stake in the Republic's governance, creating a powerful cycle of civic duty and military service. A soldier wasn't just fighting for a distant king. He was fighting for his own land, his own rights, and his own republic. Beyond politics and war, what truly unified Italy under Rome was culture. As Rome expanded, it didn't just impose its will. It absorbed and adapted. Roman culture, religion, and traditions became a powerful unifying force. They created a shared identity that transcended local elite. Whether you were from a town in Etruria or a settlement in Magna Graecia, you began to see yourself as part of something bigger, the Roman world. Latin became the language of administration and commerce. Roman gods were often syncretized with local deities. This cultural integration was a masterstroke, turning conquered peoples into loyal allies and eventually fellow citizens. The promise of Roman citizenship, with its legal protections and social mobility, was a powerful incentive for loyalty. This created a vast, diverse, yet cohesive population, all contributing to the strength and prosperity of the Republic. This ancient civilization became a beacon of effective governance. It masterfully blended democratic principles with undeniable military strength and a profound sense of civic duty. The Roman Republic wasn't just a government. It was a way of life, a model that inspired admiration and imitation. From these strong foundations, Rome was poised to leap onto the world stage. Having secured the Italian peninsula, its gaze turned outward. Across the Mediterranean Sea, the stage was set for the epic conflicts with Carthage, the conquest of Greece, and the expansion into Asia and Gaul. The Republic that had been forged in the fires of Italian unification would now go on to build an empire that shaped the course of Western history for 1,000 years. The lessons from this era are timeless. The Roman experience teaches us about the importance of balanced government, the rule of law, the integration of diverse populations, and the relationship between military power and civic responsibility. The legacy of the Roman Republic isn't just a story from the distant past. It's a series of history lessons that continue to resonate in our modern world, influencing our own systems of law, government, and society. The power of Rome, born in the heart of Italy, truly laid the groundwork for the future. If you enjoyed this journey into the foundations of the Roman Empire, please show your support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you do not miss our next exploration into history. Give this video a like if you found it interesting, and most importantly, share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspect of the Roman Republic's legacy do you find most fascinating? Let's discuss the enduring impact of this incredible ancient civilization together. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.